Hitchens is a British author, the brother of the late Christopher Hitchens, an accomplished author in his own right, atheist. Hitchens, Peter, has made great travels across the political spectrum. He started out as a socialist, now he's a conservative. He had a rather jarring message for his fellow British citizens. Get out while you still can. Take a listen.
Yes, I do tell people to leave the country if they can, but that's an important detail. The if they can bit, it's getting harder and harder to get out of here, not least because people in foreign countries have begun to realize what modern Britain is like. They've begun to spot what most of us already know, that nothing works. Our schools are useless. Our universities are even worse, that we're not training people to be any use at doing anything, that we're very badly governed, that we don't know how to run anything. Why should they have us? If you want to get out, by all means try, but don't ask me where you should go. Don't assume before you try going that everybody will want you. Get some qualifications, learn to speak a language. But the real problem is this. I'm not telling people to get out so they can have nicer, better, comfier, more prosperous lives. I'm saying get out while you can before this country becomes impossible to live in and impossible to escape from. The way in which our politicians behave, their incompetence, their inability to understand what's going on, their incredible willingness to spend money we haven't got, their refusal to face any of our major problems are leading to the decay of what was once a major civilization. You think it'll just carry on being an inhabitable place forever? You'll be surprised. And people also say to me, well, why don't you go? I don't go because I'm 74. It's too late for me. I can't go somewhere else and make a living there. And I don't believe you should go to somebody else's country without being able to support yourself. That may not be the case with you. That's all I'm saying. Get out while you can.
Ingsoc is upon the UK, apparently. Well, I mean, there's a lot of evidence to support the claims he's making, but I thought that was a particularly interesting commentary given our next guest, because she did just that. Recently, a couple years ago, fled the UK. Lionel Shriver is a best-selling author, most recently of Mania, a novel. Mania is the name of her recent novel. Lionel, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Do we have Lionel? Hello? Yes, no? Okay, well, we'll try to raise Lionel Shriver. We'll be right back after this.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen, I'm going to be straight with you. Pain just doesn't hurt your body. It steals your life. I know because I've seen it with people I care about, and maybe you're dealing with it right now. Here's what I love about Dr. Ashley Caravelli and QC Kinetics. They get it. They're not pushing surgery. They're not handing out pills. They're using your body's own healing power to fix what's broken. This is cutting edge. I've talked to people who've been through this. These are real results. No going under the knife, no medication fog, no sitting on the couch recovering, just your body doing what it was designed to do, heal itself. QC Kinetics gives you long-term relief. Make 2026 the year you get back to living without pain. They've got weekend appointments, free consultations, and you can use your HSA or FSA spending accounts. Your first consultation is free, so don't hesitate to call to find out more. Call 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. One more time, that number is 312-827-6261.
AM 560. The Answer.
Okay, I think we have Lionel Shriver now. Best-selling author Lionel Shriver, her most recent novel, Mania, a novel. Lionel, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
So, what did you make of what Peter Hitchens had to say about the UK? Get out while you still can, if you can go somewhere else and make a living.
Well, I have already taken his advice a couple of years ago. I saw the writing on the wall. I should clarify that I lived in the UK for 36 years. So it was a big deal for me to leave. But I was already experiencing a country that, as Peter observed, simply doesn't work on a number of levels. And I had a feeling things were only going to get worse. It was obvious at that point that a Labour government was going to come to power, not because anybody especially wanted a Labour government, but they were sick of the Conservatives. So it was a kind of protest vote, which has proved to be self-destructive because Labor's like the Democrats, only worse. They tax and spend, and the UK can't afford to spend beyond its means. I mean, right now, the UK is potentially caught in a doom loop already. They are borrowing money just to pay the interest on the money they've already borrowed. Mm-hmm. And that means
paying your mortgage with a credit card. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just since you're such a keen observer of the human condition, and since we're tracking in this country, not exactly, but I mean, we're on a lot of dangerous tracks ourselves. I mean, as you watched over time, what were the leading indicators that the UK was starting to slide away from what it had been and what it could be?
Well, its infrastructure doesn't work very well. If you want to travel anywhere, I mean, it does have a train system. That's the way most people get around more than plane because it's on a very much smaller scale than the United States. But you can't count on it. So that if you have to be somewhere to do something for work, the chances are you're not going to make it, right? Because the train's going to be canceled, or it's going to be late, or you're going to miss your connection. And that's just one example. The housing is insanely expensive because. Most of all because of immigration. They have imported something like 10 million people in about 20 years, and it's a fifth the size of the United States. So they can't just on the level of housing alone. This has been a disaster. Because all these people have to live somewhere, and they're not building enough houses. And then there's the cultural issue. I mean, you're getting a lot of fragmentation, social fragmentation, because a vast number of these recent immigrants are Muslim and are not a natural fit for a culture that is Judeo-Christian historically. Immigrants tend to... As immigrants do where I live in Portugal, they cluster together, right? It's a normal impulse to want to be around your own kind, people who understand you, speak your language, have your religion, think the way you do, and that's what happens. So you basically get huge ghettos that are disconnected from the rest of the country. And so, for the native Brits, it's like, what happened? This doesn't look like my country anymore. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a slow, steady level of immigration, bring in fresh blood, new ideas, people who think differently. That's the progressive fantasy. But when it's huge numbers of people that you cannot integrate, it creates huge division and in Britain, quiet resentment. It's like, what happened to my country? I don't feel at home. These are not my countrymen. Why are we doing this? And then the other problem that Britain has, which is also related to immigration, is massive welfare dependency. And it's not only among immigrants, it's high among immigrants, but it's also a huge problem with the domestic population. And that includes a lot of younger people who have discovered that if they say that they have problems with anxiety or depression, they can get not just on standard welfare, but disability, which pays much better. And the UK has made the same mistake that a lot of Europe does, is making it pay better to be on state benefits than to be to work in the private sector and pay taxes. And that's the other thing that's going on in the UK. Massive taxes, the highest taxes since World War II. And, that I'm sure you're familiar with the Laffer curve. Mm-hmm. At a certain point, people just won't work more because they don't get the benefit of it.
Or they move to Portugal.
And that's why they moved to Portugal. That was a big motivation. Oh, and you just want a little detail. One of the things they brought in, starting the next tax year, and I knew this was coming, and there was absolutely no way I was going to submit to it. For self-employed people, not only do you obviously have to file a yearly tax return, that's perfectly normal, but you have to file 4 more tax returns quarterly. So you have to file returns 5 times a year, and you have to upload, you have to scan and upload a copy of every single receipt so that the government has access to it. Uh-huh. So the amount of bureaucracy on their behalf, to no benefit of anyone, right, is so obnoxious that on the basis of that single new law alone, I would have left the country.
And despite some rhetoric from Keir Starmer in the direction of border security and rethinking immigration policy, would it be fair to say that at present there's not the political will in the UK to do much of anything to address the problems you've just described?
No, it's all. I'm afraid it's all rhetoric. I mean, it is the source of. I have to say, it is no exaggeration. Massive popular rage, because these people who are coming in on rubber dinghies crossing the Channel from France. By the way, right there, they're claiming asylum, but they're leaving France.
Right.
So, what is the problem? The croissants aren't made with butter anymore, and they're not. Then they get picked up by the Royal Navy, right? Like a taxi service, taken to Britain, put in 4-star hotels, given a weekly stipend, a new cell phone, and 3 meals a day and snacks 24/7. I mean, and they're kicking out. These hotels. They're all over the country. They're incredibly expensive for the state, and these are places that locals used to get married. Have receptions, celebrate wedding anniversaries. No longer, right? So you take all these institutions out of public use, and they're almost entirely housing young men from they're overwhelmingly from the likes of North Africa and the Middle East.
And then politicians, really across the board, sort of like we have here, but probably even worse there. Obviously Labor, but probably some wishy-washy conservative, so-called conservatives too. Then they intercede here and talk about the affordability crisis and how they're going to address the crisis that they created.
Yes, well, I mean, one of the main things that makes it unaffordable to live in the UK is the tax system. So you can talk about the affordability crisis. But exactly, they created it.
I know that there's sort of it's a sort of a 2-pronged problem. One is they are riding to the rescue to address a problem they created. The other issue is the way they attempt to address it is by more state manipulations and central planning. So they use the very tools that created the crisis to try to solve the crisis, which exacerbates the crisis.
Yes. And that's especially the case in the likes of housing. one of the reasons, and this is also the case in the U.S., that the reason that we have a housing crunch is that everything's overregulated, and getting planning through is a nightmare. All the environmental regulations, etc. So, yes, people and government always think that the answer is more government, when the problem is the government.
Do you think that London is going to cease to be a great city and a center of commerce the way that we're talking about it in the U.S. with respect to New York, Chicago, L.A.?
I can't predict what will happen to the financial industry, which is really what keeps everything going. I don't have up-to-date figures, but the last time I looked at it, the financial industry was something like 25% of the UK tax take. But I know that a lot of firms have been leaving and ended up in New York. London is nothing like what it used to be, and things sneakily fall apart little by little and change in a way that, when you're there, you don't exactly notice because it's gradual. But in the time that I lived in London from 99 to 2023, it completely changed demographically. So it's now as of 2021, so it's worse. This number is lower now. But in 2021, only 37% of London were white British people. And it's basically completely taken over by immigrants from very alien cultures. And you walk around, you can go for walks and just not see any English people, any as we would think of them, just regular English people. You can go for a walk for an hour and not see one. It's bizarre. And this is the capital city of the United Kingdom, and it's full of foreigners. And it's dismaying. It's no longer an English city.
Lionel Shriver, best-selling author, most recently Mania, a novel. Lionel, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome to it.
And Lionel Shriver joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
The Answer.
Today is Giving Tuesday, and right now, families across Latin America and the Caribbean are facing the unthinkable. Parents who used to scrape together one small meal a day now watch their children cry out in hunger.